reproduction is very essential for continuation of race. That is, organisms should continue living on this globe earth for generations after generation. For this reason, reproduction is very useful. If reproduction occurs, only life on earth is possible. See, let us assume reproduction is not there. Let us assume that there is no reproduction. If reproduction is not there, what will happen? Organisms that are formed during evolution will not be able to continue their life. Okay. So, for this purpose, for the life to continue on Earth, reproduction is very essential. Next, biodiversity. Different forms of Earth, forms of living organisms are continuing on this Earth. That is the reason why biodiversity is possible. If any organism stops reproducing, what will happen? That organism will be extinct. The same way, different organisms will get extinct. Then there will be limited number of organisms. Different types of organisms are not possible. So, for biodiversity, also reproduction is only the reason. Reproduction. Reproduction means one organism reproduces to give another young ones. That is called as reproduction. What is the importance of reproduction? It is very important for continuation of race. That particular organism to continue its life, existence of life, generations after generation. For this purpose, reproduction is very useful. If there is no reproduction, life on earth would not be possible. Let us assume the first organism, bacteria or something formed, and it is not able to reproduce. What will happen? Will there be any next generation? Is life possible on earth? No, it's not possible. Okay, next, biodiversity. Biodiversity is also possible because of reproduction. Every organism on earth is continuing its life because of reproduction. If any few organisms reproduce, few are not able to reproduce, we would not have these many varieties of organisms on earth. So biodiversity is also because of reproduction. Okay, how do organisms reproduce? Did you ever see a hen reproducing? How does it reproduce? Or any snake? How does it reproduce? By laying eggs. By laying eggs. So, chick, snake, etc. reproduce by laying eggs. What about cow? What about goat? What about human beings? How do we reproduce? We reproduce by giving birth to babies. By giving birth to babies. So, all these higher organisms have two methods of reproducing. One is by laying eggs, second one is by giving birth to babies. Okay, this method of laying eggs is called as oviparous organisms. These organisms are called as oviparous organisms. The organisms which give birth to young ones are called as viviparous organisms. These are called as viviparous organisms. Viviparous organisms. Okay. Most of the mammals are viviparous organisms. All other higher organisms are oviparous organisms. How can we understand which organism is oviparous, which organism is viviparous? Observe carefully. If any organism has external ears, and hair on skin, hair on skin, then we can easily understand that it is a viviparous organism. Okay, with this, we'll try to apply this rule. I'll ask you some questions. Try to answer. Okay, chick, is it having external ears? No. Hair on skin? No. It is feathers. They are feathers. There is no hair. So it is oviparous or viviparous. So, is it oviparous or viviparous? You say me? Snake? Compare and say me. Bear? Cow? Donkey? Lion? Uh, Peacock? You take some list of organisms and try to guess whether it is oviparous or viviparous. Chick? Yeah, oviparous. Very good answer. Snake? Yes, correct answer. Oviparous. Bear? Bear is also viviparous. Very good. Cow? Cow also viviparous. Very good. Donkey? Donkey is also viviparous. Very good. Lion? Viviparous. Peacock? Peacock is oviparous. So you compare any organism that you find in your surroundings. You can simply compare by this simple rule. If they are having external ears and hair on skin, they are viviparous. Otherwise, they are all oviparous. Okay, that is about higher organisms. What about low, very small organisms like amoeba, paramecium? They also reproduce. They also produce new young ones. How do they produce young ones? Are there any other methods? Yes, there are some methods of reproduction like budding, binary fission, binary fission, fragmentation. There are some many methods. We'll discuss about these three now. What happens in case of budding? Any organism that can reproduce by budding. Yeast, example. Yeast is a single cellular organism. When it wants to reproduce, it produces a small bud like this. This bud will grow in size, and when it is fully grown, the nucleus develops. This is one organism. Now there are two yeast in it, but this yeast do not try to live separately. They live in colonies. So one by one, by process of budding, yeast will produce new buds, and it continues to live in the form of a colony. Okay. So that is one budding example. Did you ever hear of an organism called as Hydra? This organism is called as Hydra. When it wants to reproduce, it develops a small bud over the body. This bud will develop in size. There is no rule that here only it should produce. It can produce here also. It can produce here also. Any place, but I am drawing it here. This will grow in size. When it is grown, sufficiently, it produces these small projections called tentacles. Now this baby will separate from the parents and it continues to live a separate life. Okay? So this is one example for budding hydra. Okay? Binary fission. Binary fission occurs in, for example, take amoeba, irregular shape organism. It produces a constriction in the middle of its body. After that, nucleus also will start to divide. When the nucleus divide, cytoplasm also will divide, and both of them are separated into two different organisms. This is called as binary fission. Binary means two organisms. Binary means two. Fission, splitting. Two organisms are produced from parents because of splitting. So this is called as binary fission. But you see, what happens to parent in case of budding? Parent is a new daughter is formed. In case of binary fission, parents itself splits into two daughters. So there is no parent. After the daughters are formed, parents turn into daughters. There is no parent remaining. Okay? So that is about binary fission. Binary fission not only takes in amoeba, you can take the example of euglena, you can take the example of paramecium. In all these organisms, one individual splits into two. Fragmentation, fragmentation takes place in different organisms. Suppose let us take Spirogyra. Spirogyra is a, you have already learned about Spirogyra in algae. So the cells are living in colonies. These also prefer to live in colonies. They do not separate. Each one is an individual organism. So this is chloroplast. Filament shaped chloroplast is present. Okay, this is Spirogyra. When it want to reproduce, a small fragment from the body will separate. Let us take this fragment separated and it formed, it came out like this. Okay, this will develop into a complete organism. This will develop all other parts and it will develop into a complete organism like this. Okay, so one individual, I'll draw a single cell instead of drawing a set of cells. I'll draw a single cell. This is a Spirogyra. This is chloroplast in Spirogyra. One fragment is separated. Let us say this fragment is separated. The fragment will separate itself from parent body. Slowly it will develop the remaining parts. It will grow into a complete organism like this. So this has turned into a new Spirogyra. This process in which one fragment develops into complete organism is called as fragmentation. Okay? These are types of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Why do we call them as asexual reproduction? Why can't we say that is sexual reproduction? What is the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction? I'll say you know, right? What is sexual reproduction? What is asexual reproduction? Generally, most of the organisms that we see around, there is a male organism, there is a female organism. Okay? Male male gamete is produced. The cell that is produced inside the male organism is called as male gamete, and female organism produces female gametes, and they will fuse with one another. Okay, male gamete and female gamete fuse with one another and form zygote. This zygote will develop into complete organism. Okay. So, in this type of reproduction, male and female both are present. Male gamete, female gamete both are produced. What is this gamete means? Gamete is a reproductive cell. Reproductive cell. Every organism has a reproductive organ. That is present inside a reproductive system. Reproductive system. Like we have digestive system, like we have respiratory system, circulatory system, there is a specific system called reproductive system which helps the organisms to reproduce. In all this organ system, in this entire organ system, particularly these reproductive cells are produced in one organ. That organ is called as reproductive organ. Okay, reproductive system is organ system that helps in reproduction. That helps in reproduction. In this entire organ system, there is a particular organ. Total reproductive system will not produce, what do you say, reproductive cells. There is one particular organ for every organism which produces gametes. Which produces gametes. That organ is called as the reproductive organ. Okay? Is it clear? For example, let us take our respiratory system is there. In our respiratory system, we are breathing inside, we are taking into lungs, we have nose, we have nasal cavity is present, trachea is present, bronchus, bronchioles, all these are present. But where the actual exchange of gases takes place? Lungs. Important organs in our respiratory system is lung. In the same way, you take any other organ system. You take our nervous system. We have nerves distributed in our body, but the major organs in our nervous system are brain and spinal cord. They are only main for carrying the nerve signals from one place to another place. You take excretory system, you take for example, total excretion, main function of excretion is done in kidneys. We have other parts like urethra, urinary bladder, ureter. They are all additional organs, but main organ is kidneys. Same like that here also, we have main organ which produces gametes. There are so many organs in this organ system. The main organ that produces gametes is called as reproductive organ. In reproductive organ, gametes are produced. Gametes are reproductive cells. Okay. This is how sexual reproduction takes place. But in case of asexual reproduction, there are no two organs. As we saw in case of amoeba, how many parents are there? Only one parent. Is there any formation of gametes? No, gametes are not formed. Is there any fusion between male and female gametes? No fusion. When there is no gametes, no fusion, no zygote formation. Okay? This type of reproduction is called as a sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, in short, to understand, sexual reproduction has male and female parents, male and female parents, and gametes fuse to form zygote. Gametes fuse. Fuse means both of them are going into one into another. They mix together to form zygote. In case of asexual reproduction, only one parent, no fusion of gametes, no zygote formation. You see the example of amoeba, you see the example of hydra, spirogyra. In all these organisms only, there is only a single organism, single parent involved. Okay. So that is about it. Now, we'll see the sexual reproduction in flowers, plants. Sexual reproduction in plants. Let us understand the parts of a flower. Flower has parts that hold the flower firmly. These are called as calyx or sepals. After that, there are colorful structures called corolla or petals. And in the center, there is a structure like this. This is called the female part of the flower, or it is called as gynoecium. Gynoecium, or you can call it carpel. You can also call it pistil. Same name. All these are female. This is a symbol for female. Female part of the flower. Now, from here it extends like this. There is a part like this. Like this. So I am drawing only two. Some flowers have 5, some flowers have 10. This is called as androecium. Androecium, or you can also call it stamen. This is male part of flower. Okay. So how many whorls are there? Whorls means rounds. First round. If you remove this calyx, next you'll have corolla. If you remove the corolla, then you'll have this stamen. Then after that, innermost whorl is gynoecium. Okay. Sometimes it is singular, sometimes you can see there are so many like this. Okay. So in this female part of flower, the topmost part is called as stigma. Stigma. This part is called as style. Not able to see. Right. I'll write again. This is called as stigma. How many carpels are there? Those many stigma are there. This is style. This is ovary. Stigma, style, and ovary are parts of gynoecium. Inside this ovary, there are small future seeds called as ovules. These are called as ovules. These all are present on the gynoecium. Androecium has this part of androecium is called as anther. This part of androecium is called filament. Anther and filament are two parts of androecium, that is stamen, male part of the flower. So these two form the male part of flower. 1, 2, 3, 4 form the female part of the flower. That's all. That is about the structure of flower. How it reproduces, that we'll learn in our next class. Okay.